There is a kind of tired that sleep does not touch. You know the difference. Normal tired, you sleep, you wake up, you're better. This other thing, you sleep 9 hours and you open your eyes and it's still sitting on your chest, exactly where it was. And what makes it worse is that nothing has obviously happened to you. Nobody died. You didn't lose your job. There's no event you can point at to justify feeling like this, which means when someone asks what's wrong, you don't have an answer. So you say you're just tired. There's a verse people quote at you when you're in that state. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Eagles, running, not being weary. You've heard it. It's probably on something in your house. And it usually lands as pressure rather than help, because you are waiting and nothing is renewing. But there's something in that verse that almost nobody notices. It contains 5 distinct movements in a specific order. And the order is not the one you'd expect. Let me read it properly, because it always gets quoted in fragments. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. 5 things: wait, renew, mount up, run, walk, walk. Now look at the order. It goes flying, then running, then walking. That's backwards. Every instinct says a list like that should build. Walk, then run, then fly. Small to large, weak to strong, ordinary to spectacular. That's how we write things. This does the opposite. It starts at the top and comes down to a man putting one foot in front of the other. People have argued about that ordering for a very long time, and the reading that has stuck, the one I find most convincing, is that it isn't a decline at all. It's a progression. It ends on walking because walking is the hardest. Think about it in your own life. Anyone can fly for a day. You've had those days. Something breaks open. You feel it. You're lifted. You could do anything. Those days are real, and they cost you nothing to have. Running is harder. Running is a season. A few months where you're pushing and it's difficult, but you're moving. Walking is 20 years. Walking is getting up on a Tuesday in the 11th year of something with no visible change, and going anyway. There is no adrenaline in it. Nobody claps. And that is why it comes last in the verse. Not because it's the consolation prize, because it's the summit. Spurgeon understood this from the inside, and I'll come back to why at the end. But let's take the 5 in order. Step 1, wait. And immediately we have a translation problem, because in English, wait sounds passive, sitting in a chair, doing nothing until something changes. That is not what the word carries. The Hebrew behind it has the sense of binding together, of twisting strands into a cord. It's the image of a rope being made, which is an entirely different activity. A rope isn't passive. A rope is many weak threads twisted so tightly around each other that the result holds weight none of them could hold alone. So the first step is not do nothing until you feel better. It's stop trying to be strong as a single thread. Attach yourself to something that holds. And practically, this is the part I had to sit with. That means the first step of rebuilding is not an action at all. It's a stop. Life has a way of teaching us lessons. You are depleted precisely because you have been generating everything yourself. The first move is to quit doing that, which is much harder than it sounds, because stopping feels like giving up, and you have spent months telling yourself that if you stop, everything collapses. Spurgeon did this literally. He left, repeatedly, for months at a time, from the largest church in England. He did not frame it as weakness. He treated it as step 1. Step 2, renew. Here's the thing about this word that changes the whole verse. It doesn't mean repair. It doesn't mean recover the strength you had. It carries the sense of exchange, of swapping one thing for another, the way you'd change clothes. The old strength isn't patched up, it's put down and something else is picked up. And that matters enormously, because of what you're probably trying to do right now. You are trying to get back to who you were before this. That's the goal in your head, the version of you from 3 years ago, the one who had energy, who wanted things. You want your old strength back. The verse doesn't offer that. It offers a different strength, which means part of what's exhausting you is not the depletion itself. It's the effort of trying to restore a version of yourself that is not coming back. I found that genuinely hard to hear, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. There's a grief in it. The person you were before the illness, before the loss, before whatever it was, that person is gone, and no amount of waiting produces them again. But the alternative isn't nothing. It's an exchange. And the strength that comes back is usually quieter, slower, and much more durable than the one it replaced. Spurgeon sur le renouvellement. Spurgeon, after 1856, was not the man he had been before it. He said so. He was slower, sadder, and he preached for another 35 years. The second strength lasted longer than the first. Step 3. Mount up with wings as eagles. This is the one everybody wants, and the one everybody misreads. It gets preached as the goal. Soar above your circumstances. Rise, fly. It's on the mug, it's on the poster. It's the climax of 1,000 sermons. But in the verse, it isn't the climax. It's the third of 5. And 2 more things come after it, which reframes what it actually is. The lift is not the destination. It's the beginning of the recovery, the first sign that something is coming back. And there's a detail in the image that's worth having. An eagle mounting up doesn't flap harder. That's not how it works. It finds a rising column of warm air, and it opens its wings, and the air does the lifting. The bird's job is positioning, not effort. So even the flying, in this verse, is not something you generate, it's something you catch. I want to say something about these moments, because I think people misuse them. When the lift comes, and it does come, usually without warning, usually on an ordinary morning, the temptation is to immediately spend it, to decide that you're back, and to take on everything you dropped. That is how people relapse. The lift is step 3 of 5. It is not the end of the process. Step 4. Run, and not be weary. Notice the promise is not that you'll run fast, it's that you'll run. Without becoming weary. Viora's ring. That's a completely different claim. It's not about performance. It's about the relationship between effort and depletion. Because here's what's been happening to you. You've been running, and it has been costing you more than it produces. Every week takes more out than it puts back. and you've been running a deficit for so long that you've stopped noticing. That's not laziness, that's an accounting problem. The promise here is that there's a way of working that doesn't do that. Same effort, different economy. And practically, this is the stage where you start doing things again, but the test is not how much you're doing. The test is whether it's draining you. If you've come back to the same volume of activity and you're already running a deficit again, you have skipped a step and you will be back at the bottom within a year. This is the step Spurgeon got wrong most often, by his own account. He went back too hard, too many times. Step 5, walk and not faint. The last one, the summit. And it's the least impressive sentence in the entire verse. Nobody has ever put "they shall walk and not faint" on a poster. There's no photograph for it. You cannot make it look like anything, because it doesn't look like anything. It looks like a person going to work. But this is where the verse ends, and I don't think that's an accident. Because flying is a day, running is a season. Walking is the 30 years where nothing dramatic happens and you keep going anyway. And the word here is not be weary, which was step 4. It's not faint. Different promise. You will be weary. That one is not removed. What's promised is that you won't collapse. That's a much more modest guarantee than the eagles. And it is the only one you can actually build a life on. I think this is why the order runs downward. The verse is walking you out of the fantasy. You come in wanting to fly, because flying is what you feel like you've lost. It gives you the flying, third of 5, and then it keeps going, past the running, down to a man on a road, still moving, not collapsing. And it says that's the finished thing. Spurgeon preached for 38 years, most of them ill, many of them depressed. He never got the flying back as a permanent state. It came and went like it does. What he got was walking, week after week, in pain, in a body that was failing for decades. He walked and did not faint. That's the whole biography. So, 5, wait, renew, mount up, run, walk. And here's the inversion. We treat this verse as a promise of restoration. Hold on, wait it out, and eventually you get your old life back. The energy, the momentum, the version of you that worked. That's how it's preached, and that's how we hear it. Read the 5 in order, and it isn't saying that at all. It's saying, you're not getting the old strength, you're getting a different one. And it's going to arrive as a lift you can't manufacture, then a way of working that stops costing more than it gives, and then, finally, at the top of the list, the ability to keep going on ordinary days without collapsing. That last one is the achievement, not the eagles. Which means if you are currently walking, if you are getting up and going, and nothing about it feels remarkable, and you are quietly certain you're failing because there's no lift in it, you are not at the bottom of this list. You are at the top of it. I should be honest about something. I came to this verse looking for the eagles. That's what I wanted from it, and I suspect that's what most people want from it. I was reading the last 2 lines as the disappointing part, as what you settle for when the flying doesn't come. They're not the settlement, they're the point, and I'd had it upside down for years. Father, for anyone watching who has been walking a long time with nothing to show for it, let them see that this is not failure. Give them the strength that comes second, not the one they lost. And keep them on their feet on the days when there is nothing in it at all. Amen. Next time, the 7 things E.M. Bounds said make prayer powerless. Take care of yourself.